Hello, welcome to The Wandering Drew. I am Drew. On today's episode, I'd like to discuss one of the most common questions that I get when I tell people that I'm going out in the woods and I'm either doing a camping, a backpacking, or a hiking trip. It's usually either a question related to this topic or whether or not I'm going to take a firearm with me when I go hiking that most non-hikers ask. And this topic seems to be of great concern to many. And this is something that I've been actually hoping to tackle for quite some time, probably about 9 or 10 months in the making. And the topic, you ask? Well, it's going to the bathroom in the woods. Stay tuned for discussion and tips on going potty in the woods. Imagine you're walking down the trail and you feel that sudden urge like you need to go to the bathroom, but you remember on the map there's a restroom ahead. Thank heavens. You've located it. All will be good. As you get closer, as usual, the pressure rises. Somehow the body knows when a bathroom is close by. What? What do you mean? How could that be? Oh no. What will I do? What will I do? What will I do? Well, if you've ever been out hiking or day hiking and you feel that familiar feeling down below and you realize I'm going to need to go to the bathroom, or it's something that you've been concerned about and the fear of needing to go to the restroom or needing to go to a bathroom has stopped you from going out and doing longer trails or hikes where there's no facilities, then you need to watch these episodes. Because I'm hoping that after watching these, you will overcome your fear or phobia about going out in the woods and doing these hikes because of your fear for going to the bathroom. Let's face it, we all have to go to the bathroom sometime. And when nature calls us, we really usually don't have much of a chance of ignoring that call. Because sooner or later, it's going to have to come out. Sometimes the call is a little more urgent than others. Sometimes it's something you can continue to hike and walk with or even deal with for several hours. But there are times when that's not going to be possible. And why should it be? Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Like I said, this is something I've been trying to do for several months. I keep writing and rewriting the script and finding the time. And I was just overwhelmed with this and some other things, and I finally felt that I need to do this video and get it off my table. And I will be dividing this topic into 2 episodes, and that's intentional. So, naturally, since we're discussing going to the bathroom, I'm going to have an episode 1 and an episode 2. And just as you would think, in episode 1, we're going to discuss going number 1 in the woods. And in number 2, we'll discuss doing number 2 in the woods. Based on the amount of times that myself or other hikers are asked this question, obviously it's of interest and of concern to many. Now, I don't think that for most men, going to take a pee in the woods is a really big deal. I think it's a pretty uneventful occasion for them because our plumbing is very conducive to this type of activity. But for the majority of women, I think peeing in the woods is just as much an issue, and they have the same apprehension that I think most men have about taking a poop in the woods. And I have seen many men and boys when I was doing hiking that are very concerned or seem to have a fear or a phobia of making a poop in the woods. Now, I really can't speak for women, but I have read their journals and watched a lot of their videos, and I think I can cover the topic pretty well. Now, I did try to record this last week, but some of the edits and the shots weren't as good, so I came back again to do it again, and I'm going to be videoing this on my phone, so hopefully it'll turn out well. In this episode, I'm going to be covering peeing in the woods. So, like I said, for men, this is pretty uneventful. For women, this will be a little different. And there are some things that you should have, both men and women, in a little kit. I call it like my bathroom kit, or when I have to do my business in the woods, that I have with me. So I am quite capable of dropping my pack either by the trail side or leaving with my people that I'm hiking with, or if I'm at my campsite, it's at my campsite, and I just have to take a small little pack with me to go into the woods to go to the bathroom. And this is my bathroom kit. Okay, and you should have this. Now, for men, obviously, for peeing, you're not going to need this. But for women, you may need this. And definitely both sexes will need this to make poop in the woods. So I'm going to cover it today, what you need in your kit, and I won't have to really discuss it too much in episode 2. That's number 2. As I said, you should have a small bathroom kit. I like to use Ziploc bags. This is a gallon size, and there's several things I like about them. One, they're readily available and easily replaceable. If this rips or tears or gets ruined, I don't feel really bad. It costs me virtually nothing to do. All I got to do is take a new one and repackage everything. They're also very lightweight. They're somewhat waterproof. And also I like the fact that they're see-through, so I can see what's in them. Easy to pack, easy to plan. When I'm looking through stuff, I can pull them out and I know what's in them. And in my kit, I place the following items. I always have multiple small plastic bags. They're good for anything and everything, whether it's garbage, trash, that I find or that I make from eating, or wiping my hands, washing my hands, to replacing one of the bags that they break, or for food or whatever it may be. But it's always good to have a small number of different size plastic bags, Ziploc bags. So, but more importantly, this is what you're gonna take with you. And obviously a very important item, especially later on, will be toilet paper. And here I have a roll of toilet paper. I may carry more depending on how long I'm going to be out hiking, but generally I don't need as much as I think I need, and I don't want to carry it. So if I'm resupplying, I always have the option of picking up another roll somewhere. So I remove the center core. There's a cardboard roll usually that would go on the roller and gives it its shape, and I take that out. There's 2 reasons why I take it out. One, because I want to save weight. And I always joke around about that. It's really not that much weight, but it is true. Obviously, lighter is better. But more so that I can collapse the toilet paper and fold it down, and it takes up less room in my pack. And that's the real reason that I want to pull that cardboard out. So this is definitely something you're going to need and want to have when you have to go poop in the woods later. But even for peeing for women, you may want this, but I'll go into why you don't want this really. But it's something that you're going to want to take with you and have. And I'm going to put it down here on a piece of paper so it doesn't get dirty. Let me go back for a second to the toilet paper. I generally keep the toilet paper in a separate Ziploc bag inside my kit for 2 reasons. It keeps it compact. Every time I go on my kit, I don't need toilet paper. But it also keeps it from getting dirty or wet, especially when I put the other items in or I'm using it. So a good suggestion might be to have a second Ziploc bag that you fit your toilet paper in. And this enables you, if you need to, you can always take it out and use that bag if you run short of a bag, or obviously it'll keep your toilet paper nice and clean. Let me sit down here since we're going to be talking for a little bit. The next item that you want to have after your toilet paper is a trowel. And a trowel is just a small shovel-like device that is used to dig a hole for you to put your poop in. And this hole is called a cat hole because it's very similar to what a cat would do when it makes a hole so it can bury its poop. Okay, most of us are used to a litter box. It's similar, but in the wild they would dig a different hole and bury it. And that's called a cat hole. I think that every hiker should have a trowel. It's part of being a good steward of the outdoors. But I'm not going to argue with you if you don't. There are many hikers that will say, I can do the same thing with a tent stake, with my boot heel, or my trekking pole, and I'm going to respectfully disagree with them. You cannot dig a 6 to 8 inch hole deep in the ground with a tent stake or your boot heel or even a trekking pole. Okay, it might do that depending on the soil, but it's definitely going to take longer and be harder. And I would tend to think that most of the people that are saying they're doing that are probably not digging a proper cat hole because of the challenge of the tool that they're using. It is recommended that your cat hole is 6 to 8 inches deep and 4 to 6 inches across. And that's pretty hard to do with a tent stake or a trekking pole. It's much easier to do with a trowel. If you were digging a hole and you go to a construction site, you don't see them going around digging holes with poles. You see them using tools that have scoops on the end or a shovel. And a trowel is just a miniature shovel. And this is extremely lightweight. It weighs 0.6 of an ounce, not even a whole ounce. And this company that I bought it from, they're lightweight. They make 3 different versions. Each version is heavier, but a little bit stronger. So they have 1, 2, and 3. And I went with the number 2 because it's in between. It's a compromise between weight and strength. So, but it does the job. And it also has little notches on the end that help you when you're digging a hole to cut any roots that might be in the ground. You know, small little roots as you're digging your hole, which is a problem when you're digging a hole in dirt where there's trees and plants. They're going to have roots in there that holds the soil together. So you're going to have to break through some of those sometimes to get a proper hole. So if you don't want to carry a trowel, that's your business. I think it's part of leave no trace principles, which I've discussed before. You should have a trowel. They're cheap enough and light enough that you can take them. So after the trowel, another item that I carry is sanitizer. Now, obviously, in the COVID-19 days, this is important, but even before COVID-19, this is important. You are doing and touching some stuff that has a high likelihood of you catching or possibly coming in contact with bad things like bacteria from your body, poop, feces, urine. All of these things can contaminate your hands and anything else you touch after that. So it's very, very important for you to sanitize your hands and clean them, whether that's using soap and water or a hand sanitizer. I find the hand sanitizer cleaner because I don't always have water available, or do I want to waste my water? It's not a waste, but I don't want to use it up washing my hands because I sometimes need my water to drink. And I have another product that can do the job without the water. So it's very, very important. Very commonly, hikers will get sick. They will blame bad food or bad water, giardia, or something else like that. And that's really not the case. The likelihood is usually poor hygiene, and poor hygiene among hikers. That comes with sharing food, things like that. But it's very, very common that you stop. What else do we do probably? We probably take a snack or take a drink. So, I don't know, maybe you go to the bathroom first and then you take a snack. If you do that, realize that you're using your hands to probably eat, and you're contaminating your food if you didn't clean your hands. I mean, let's face it, we're not coming in touch with the cleanest parts of our body, especially after we've been on hiking for several days, if you're doing something like a long distance hike. So that is a very important item. Even if I carry hand sanitizer somewhere else, I stick it in my kit because I want to have all my things that I need to go to the bathroom with me when I go to the bathroom. And it actually serves as a duplicate if you need it. You know where you have it. If not, I also use soap. Some people will carry a small bottle of liquid soap, like a Dr. Bronner's or something like that. I have these soap leaves. They're basically dehydrated soap in a solid form. They come out in small little tiny leaves, and you just add some water, it suds right up. You can take small little bits. You can actually carry a small travel bar of soap if you want to. Whatever works for you. I just find those things messy and not really something I want to carry in my pack and make a mess. It's just easier to be the hand sanitizer. But obviously I do have the soap just in case. And that's pretty much everything that's in my kit except for these bags. The bags are for trash if I need it. So, and every time I'm done, and I do the same thing with the toilet paper I do with my trowel. The trowel gets dirty, it gets little stuff, I clean it off, I wipe it off after I use it, but it usually has some dirt, so I will usually stick it in a plastic bag just to keep the dirt from getting on everything else. And that is another reason why I take the toilet paper and put it also in a plastic bag so that it doesn't get dirty, just in case the trowel is thrown in there or I place it in there without properly cleaning it off or it comes loose during walking. And these things are all very, very light and they fit into the kit with no issue. Now, for the women out there, I have another suggestion. And from watching other women, this seems to be the preferred method of if you go to the bathroom and you're going to wipe yourself. Obviously, men, once again, we don't have this problem. But for women, they generally wipe themselves after they pee. So one option is to sit there and air dry or just pull it up and deal with it. But that's usually not the preferred method. You generally want to wipe yourself. So if you use toilet paper, now what do you do with the toilet paper? You either have to place it in a Ziploc bag or a bag and take it for trash, which you can do easily. That's not a big deal if that's what you choose to do. Or are you going to dig a hole just to bury your toilet paper? That's really not worth the effort in my opinion, and I don't find many women do that. What most women seem to do is carry a rag to wipe themselves, a pee rag. Exactly what it sounds like. It's a rag you use for your pee. And usually it's a bandana or a small rag, and they use it only for that purpose. So my suggestion would be to get a pee rag and carry it with you, and make sure it's a unique color. If you're carrying more than one bandana, that you're going to know this one is only for this purpose. You don't want to accidentally use it for something else. And what most women will generally do is they will take this and put it on the outside of their pack when they're hiking. You may see it out here. It may be clipped on or it may be tied on with a carabiner, or I've even thought about using a diaper pin if I had to use one, or just tied on like this. You know, obviously this is not getting super saturated wet. It's not going to get very dirty, but it is going to have some, obviously, urine on it. It's going to probably have a little bit of smell and it will be damp. So just like we do with our socks or our shirts, we tie them on the back of our pack and they'll dry out and air out as we hike throughout the day. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this, and I think it's quite natural. You know, years ago, before commercial toilet paper was available, most people, when they used an outhouse, because we didn't have regular bathrooms, would have a rag. You know, a whole family, each one might have a rag on it, either with a certain color stitched into it or their initials sewn in or something, and they would do this. Years ago, you know, diapers, before disposable diapers, they had cloth diapers, and what would you do? You would wash the diaper out and reuse it again. This is not anything new. This is a return to old and tried and true technology. So while it sounds a little strange to us because we're not used to it anymore, it's not really a big deal. So by placing the pee rag on the outside, it's going to be exposed to sunlight, which is going to kill bacteria. It's going to help it dry out and air out, and it should not be an issue. Additionally, some people may choose to carry certain wipes, disposable wipes, baby wipes, things like that. Realize if you're going to use these to clean yourself or wipe yourself, whether it's going pee or later on poop, as we're going to discuss later, those items cannot be buried in the ground. They need to be carried out with you. If you pack it in, you pack it out, as they say. I don't care if the package says they're biodegradable, they're probably not. They're really not biodegradable. Or they take such a long time that it will not biodegrade as rapidly as everything else, and it becomes an issue with putting that in the ground. So for that, you should pack it out. So if you're going to use wipes, just realize that you will have additional trash to take out. And I believe that's the reason why, for simplicity, most women go with a pee rag, because it's just easier and simpler. So by using this, we generally have no waste. So men or women that are going to pee in the woods have no trash. It's just urine. And urine is not as much a problem as poop is. Obviously, the urine is going to soak into the ground, it's going to evaporate some of it and dry out, and it's generally not going to be a problem. The only thing you really want to do is follow the Leave No Trace principles, which are that you should be 200 feet from the trail, a campsite, or a water source. And that's just because you don't want to pee right into a lake or river or something that other things are going to use and possibly other people are going to try and get water from and drink. Other than that, it's really not a problem. We're not making a large volume of water or urine, and it's not generally going to get into the water if you follow these principles. So 200 feet is approximately 140 steps. So that's left foot was one step, right foot is another step, left foot again would be 3 steps, right? Or a pace. A pace is one complete set of steps. So a left foot and a right foot, or a right foot and a left foot, is a pace. So that works out to about 70 paces. So about 70 paces or 140 steps will generally get you, for the average person, 200 feet away from the trail. Obviously, just walk a good safe distance away from the trail and you'll be fine. So obviously, without taking your measuring stick out, it's a guesstimation, as I say, but if you walk a fair amount of distance from the trail and you decide to do your business, that's pretty good. You should be roughly 200 feet away. So that covers all the materials that you need in your kit or anything you might need to go to the bathroom, whether it's peeing or pooping. The rest, pretty much, nature will take care of. And it's really not a big deal. But there are some things that if you're not used to doing this, you're used to using a, typical restroom or bathroom in your house or in a store or office, that you may not think of until you actually go do it. Or it's just going to be a little strange to you because it's something you haven't done. But don't worry, the learning curve on this is really fast. So I mentioned Leave No Trace principles. You should be familiar with these, which is one of the reasons why I did an episode on Leave No Trace principles a couple of weeks back. And I will put a link in it in the show notes. And if I can figure out how to, I'll put a link of it actually in the video above my head. And I would suggest that you familiarize yourself with the Leave No Trace principles, but you don't have to watch my video. Go online, type in Leave No Trace. There's plenty of information out there on Leave No Trace. And I'm just talking about how it relates to basically our waste, which is human waste, peeing and pooping, that we're concerned with today. And that's where that guideline for 200 feet comes from. So while the best option is to use a bathroom, a pit toilet, a latrine, or something of that nature when you're hiking, that's not always the case. And as you saw today, I'm out on a trail and the bathroom is actually closed. I'm assuming it's closed because of COVID-19 and they don't want people using it and possibly spreading illness. But on a big backpacking trip, there are no bathrooms in the woods like you're used to. I always say there's a bathroom by every tree. So if that's the case, we need to do our business over there. So if that's the case, you'll just have to do what us humans have been doing for centuries. Peeing and pooping in the woods.
So that'll do it for this episode. Watch the trail videos while I explain. In my first edit of this episode, it was topping 50 minutes, and that's just way too long. I've been working on bringing down the time, and I guess I have a lot to say, and this is a lot of topic to cover. So this week it'll be episode 1. Next week will be episode 1.5 of doing number 1 in the woods. I hope you'll join me, where I will discuss site selection and physically demonstrate going number 1 in the woods. If you like what I'm doing on this channel, please consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up or a like, and leave a comment below. Good, bad, something I got right, something I got wrong, or something you'd like to see me cover in the future, or a funny story even. And consider telling one of your friends about the channel. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch these videos. Till we meet again.